At first glance, it sounds like a joke. An army armed with machine guns, trucks, and trained soldiers was sent into the Australian wilderness to fight a flock of birds. Yet in 1932, that is exactly what happened. The campaign became so bizarre that history remembers it as the Emu War, a conflict where one of the world's most modern militaries found itself repeatedly outmaneuvered by thousands of giant, flightless birds. The story begins in Western Australia during the depths of the Great Depression. Thousands of former soldiers from the First World War had been encouraged to settle on farmland, where they hoped to build new lives growing wheat. The land was harsh, rainfall was unreliable, and falling crop prices made survival difficult. Then another problem arrived. Around 20,000 emus migrated inland after their breeding season. Discovering that the newly planted wheat fields offered an endless buffet of food and fresh water, the birds were enormous, standing nearly 6 feet tall and capable of sprinting at speeds approaching 50 kilometers per hour. They crashed through fences, trampled crops, and left openings that allowed rabbits to pour into the fields and cause even greater destruction. Farmers watched months of hard work disappear within days. Desperate for help, they appealed to the Australian government. Rather than offering financial compensation, officials approved a military operation. Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery was assigned to lead a small detachment equipped with 2 Lewis machine guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. The expectation was simple. Trained soldiers with automatic weapons would eliminate the birds quickly, protecting the farms and restoring confidence among struggling communities. Reality proved very different. When the soldiers first encountered the emus, they discovered that the birds rarely gathered in convenient targets. Instead, they split into smaller groups the moment danger appeared. As machine guns opened fire, the emus scattered in every direction across rough terrain. Dust, uneven ground, and the birds' remarkable speed made accurate shooting almost impossible. One early ambush seemed promising. Hundreds of emus approached a prepared firing position, and soldiers waited patiently until they were within range. But just as the guns opened fire, the weapon jammed after only a handful of shots. By the time it was operational again, the flock had vanished over the horizon, leaving only a few birds behind. The failures continued. Military trucks attempted to chase the emus across open country so the machine guns could fire from moving vehicles. Unfortunately, the rough landscape bounced the vehicles violently, making accurate aiming nearly impossible. The birds easily outran or outmaneuvered the trucks, weaving through scrubland where vehicles struggled to follow. Major Meredith reportedly developed an unexpected respect for his unusual opponent. He observed that the birds seemed remarkably organized. Smaller groups often followed leaders that appeared to act as lookouts. At the first sign of danger, these birds alerted the flock, triggering an immediate escape. While there was no true military strategy involved, the emus' natural instincts made them frustratingly effective at avoiding concentrated fire. Newspapers quickly seized upon the strange conflict. Headlines mocked the operation, portraying the emus as disciplined soldiers defeating the Australian army. Cartoonists illustrated birds wearing military medals, while reporters joked that the emus deserved recognition for their tactical brilliance. What had begun as a practical agricultural mission was becoming an international embarrassment. After several days of effort and thousands of rounds fired, only a fraction of the birds had been killed. Public criticism mounted, and the government temporarily suspended the operation. Yet the farmers' problems remained. the emus continued to consume crops and damage fences, leaving communities once again pleading for assistance. A second operation was authorized later that year. The soldiers adjusted their tactics, choosing better firing positions and waiting for larger groups before opening fire. Results improved somewhat, with more birds being removed than during the first campaign. Even so, the operation remained expensive, time-consuming, and far less successful than officials had predicted. Eventually, the government concluded that military intervention was not the answer. Instead, greater emphasis was placed on stronger exclusion fencing and bounty systems that rewarded civilians for controlling emu populations. These long-term measures proved far more practical than attempting to wage open war against fast-moving wildlife. The Emu War entered popular culture because it perfectly illustrates how confidence can collide with reality. The Australian Army was never in serious danger, and the emus were never consciously fighting a war. Yet nature exposed the limits of military solutions when applied to environmental problems. Superior firepower alone could not overcome geography, animal behavior, and unrealistic expectations. Nearly a century later, the Emu War remains one of history's most unusual true stories. It has inspired documentaries, books, internet memes, and endless retellings precisely because it sounds almost impossible to believe. Behind the humor, however, lies a deeper lesson. Technology and organization do not guarantee success when the challenge itself has been misunderstood. In the end, Australia did not lose a war to birds in any official sense, but the campaign demonstrated that even a modern military can struggle against an opponent it never truly understood. What began as an effort to save struggling wheat farms became one of history's greatest examples of unintended comedy. A reminder that sometimes the most unbelievable stories are also completely true.